The Hop Edition podcast is brought to you in association with Brew Keg Tap, the number one choice for all your beer dispense and kegging needs, and specialists in the supply of Kegland brewing equipment to the UK market. So next time you're in need of taps, kegs, or anything with a Zilla on the end, get over to brewkegtap.co.uk and tell them the Hop Edition sent you. We would also like to thank all our patrons for their continued support with running and developing the pod. If you would like to become a member and gain access to exclusive perks and benefits, head over to patreon.com/The Hop Edition podcast. Now pour yourself a cold one and enjoy the episode.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to episode 69. We'll say no more than that. But we've got Dan Miller from Overtone Brewing. He is the head brewer at Overtone. How are we all doing, lads? Are we all good?
Good evening. I'm all good, thank you.
I'm excellent.
Whoop. So Owen's eating a kebab, so he's saved us by turning off his camera at the minute.
Troughing some mixed doner right now.
So yeah,
Enjoy, Owen.
it's not normally this bad, Dan. So yeah, for whatever reasons, I think the sun's been shining today and everyone's been enjoying a few beers. So yeah, so Dan, do you want to just introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are and what is it you do?
Dan Miller. I'm from New Hampshire, and I've been brewing at Overtone for 5 years now, since the beginning.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ever came across Overtone, I think it was in the Admiral Bar, and there was cans of Nipa in the fridge, and I was like, what is this? I need to try it, and it was absolutely amazing. And to find out it's brewed in Glasgow was so cool. And it's nice having that kind of that brewery up in Scotland now, where you guys have kind of filled that sort of gap, you know.
We kind of had to educate the market as we went along as well, so It was a tough start.
Cool. So, what are you drinking just now, Dan?
The Hop City beer.
Oh.
Into the thick of it.
Is that because were you away last week at Hops? Was it?
Yep.
Tell a little bit about that.
We went down to Rivington, did a collaboration on Thursday, went to Hop City, worked it Friday and all day Saturday, and then came back on the train Sunday.
So what were you doing? Were you actually brewing down there, or was it? What was the script with it?
We did a collab at Rivy, so we kind of had some pints and put some hops in, stuff like that, chatted about business and such.
Yeah.
Then Hop City, we were pouring the whole time.
Right, okay.
It was pretty cool. I got to meet Sam from Dogfish Head. Real down-to-earth kind of guy.
Nice.
Yeah. You just go up to him, hi, I'm Dan, how are you?
And he's like, I know you.
And it was kind of like, it was really cool because I've always looked up to him as a brewer. All the work he's done starting the brewery and stuff back in the 2000 odds. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
That is awesome. What about the rest of the boys? What are you all drinking at the minute?
I'm drinking the beer whose name shall be released on Friday. We're going to put this one out on Friday hang on, let me check the old calendar. Friday the 3rd of June. We're going to put out the name of this beer. It's going to be chosen, and I will make sure that on Thursday night, the firm Zilla with all the gubbins and the pressure kit and the strap will get sent out to the relevant winner on Thursday so that you get it on Friday when the winner is announced.
Oh, that's cool. Right, okay.
And it's still tasting lovely, this beer, I've got to be honest. In fact, it's getting even better. I think the Mosaic and the Simcoe from the dry hop is really starting to kind of punch through now and mellow out, and kind of, I'm getting a lot of blueberry off of it right at this moment. So I'm very pleasantly happy, let's say.
Good.
Sounds decent.
Tricky, what about yourself?
I have got. Oh, where's the camera? Over there. My first attempt at brewing a grisette. So this is also the first time that I've used Laumond Farmhouse yeast, which is another one of their hybrid strains that they've recently released. So yeah, it's basically a kind of low strength or table kind of strength saison, pretty much.
What's your ABV?
3.5% on this one. So yeah, it's pretty good for this sort of weather, really. If you want to have a few beers when you're mowing the lawn or whatever, and it's got that
It's nice.
little bit of peppery.
Nobody
spiciness
makes
to it.
those anymore, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only really become aware of it recently from randomly getting a can of it from I think it was Lervig, who were handing out a few cans of one of their version of a grisette at London Craft Beer Festival, and then really liked that and ordered one from Duration, I think. Might have got one from somewhere else, but yeah, kind of just tweaked my interest to the point where I thought I'd have a go at brewing one, and I had a pack of that farmhouse yeast that I hadn't tried out before, so yeah, put two and two together and went, I'll try it out with that, and it seems to have worked pretty well. So it's very young, but I mean, I think this sort of beer is probably best drunk pretty fresh because of the lower strength. So yeah, it's come out decent, I think.
Is that a style thing, the grisette, then? Is it a low ABV type saison? Yeah.
So I think historically, there's not a huge amount of information out there on it, but I believe historically it's supposed to be a sort of like either Belgian like miners or something like that. It was supposed to be like their sort of after work drink.
Yeah.
That was, you know, not too
strong.
too
Isn't
heavy
it like
or-
Belgian and France that it's like the farmers drink?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I get-
the
I mean, you could
workers. Yeah.
maybe equate it to a sort of Belgian or French sort of equivalent to the mild historically, I suppose. Maybe something like that would be.
Just with a lot more flavour.
It's definitely got a bit more flavour. I'd rather brew this than a mild any day, to be fair. So yeah, that's me. What about you,
How,
Owen?
um,
Have you
how
post
peppery
kebab
is it?
Owen? What are you drinking?
Yeah, post kebab. I'll pull up now. How peppery is it, Tricky?
Say again, sorry.
How peppery is it? Is it quite?
The first few
Saison-y?
samples I had off of it were pretty strong on the kind of pepper front, and I was also getting a bit of a banana note, but that's kind of settled down a bit because initially I was kind of like, this is like a weird sort of taste, almost more like a wit beer than a saison, but that's kind of settled down a bit. So it's a pretty mellow pepperiness, but you can definitely tell there's a sort of saison style yeast in there because it has got that spicy sort of kick at the end. So yeah, but
Yeah.
it's pretty mellow, I'd say.
Yeah, the reason I ask is I think as a style, it's sort of the lower ABV. You're not carrying that residual sweetness, so I think it's quite easy to kind of overdo that pepper and it becomes a little bit too
definitely.
fierce. So it's kind of like the requirement to hit balance with that is that bit trickier, I think. But it sounds great. So I'm drinking my Nova Lager IPL, which currently is not clearing up in any way, shape or form. But it's a proper old school West Coast style beer, lots of sea hops in there, and it's actually a scaled down version of the Firestone Walker Union Jack West Coast IPA, but I made it with the Nova Lager, which I'm not really certain is. It is very distinguishable. That you can notice that it's actually an IPL as opposed to an IPA. Side by side, you might be able to tell, but off the kind of nose and the flavour, you're not really. It's not jumping out at you that it's a lager, but it is nonetheless very pleasant. So I've been enjoying quite a few of these today.
Nice. It's just myself left, isn't it? I have started on the Overtone, so I've got Space Age. So it looks, is that a collab with Flock then? And it is tasting like orange juice because I don't know if that's the Simcoe and the Citra, and then it's got this kind of nice peppery sort of thing that you get from, you know, like Nelson, that kind of sort of limey peppery. Well, yeah, it's just a total juice sort of bomb sort of thing, and it's sitting at 8.5%. So
Is that the one with the Idaho gem?
it's got, what's it, Citra Cryo, Simcoe Cryo, Nelson Savan, and Strata. But yeah,
It's hard to keep track.
yeah, because there's so many different beers that you make, Dan, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, I worry about redoing the same one over and over again without knowing it.
Yeah. I'm calling it something else. Do you actually keep a record of like, all the different beers that you brewed?
Yeah, it's all in our brewery software.
Okay. Is it what is the brewery software that you use?
We're using ViewPlan. We can put in like just the hops, and it will tell me if it's been used in what beers, and so makes it a little bit easier.
That's cool. Yeah. Good. Okay. Do you want to?
Cool.
Was that?
Sorry,
Sounds
Bob.
good. No, I was just. Do you want to tell us a story about Overtone, Dan, and just how it kind of started up, and just and a bit of your story as well, how you came in to Overtone.
Well, I first started at Overtone 5 years ago. I had an interview right after that big snowstorm, the Bees from the East.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole country shut down. I went and started there at that point. At the time, it was just Bowie and 5 tanks and the brew kit in a big giant warehouse.
So was he brewing himself at the time, or?
There was no recipes, there was no beer. Well, there was a couple of trial batches in the kit because he had tried it, but he didn't really know what we were going to make or where we were going to go with it. So it took a lot of hard concentration to come up with some sort of a direction. At the time, we were drinking a lot of cloud water and stuff, so it was kind of like, all right, these guys are hitting it. Let's try to do something like this. Mm-hmm. And a lot of cold winter days, drinking some cloud water in the office, like freezing.
Yeah, because it's quite big space. You've got a big industrial space, isn't it?
It used to be. It's gotten so many tanks in it now, and just packaged materials and product, and every office is full, and it's the right amount of space.
So in the last year, has there been more tanks added?
Last summer, July, they put in more tanks.
Right, okay.
It was 340s.
Yeah, because I think I came
happened
over.
to be on holiday.
I was at the tank tasting that you guys did, which I don't know if that was a year and a half ago, maybe. So probably there's been more. Sounds like there has been a bit more growth. So it was it started off with just the two of you. How's it kind of progressed then since?
We had somebody in sales, and we really hadn't made a name for ourselves yet, so it was quite difficult. No real distribution or anything, so it was a lot of hard work. What do they say? Hard graft here in Glasgow.
Hard graft, aye.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think we're headed in the right direction. We just need to pull together. It's quite hard.
Yep.
It's a really small team, so we've got a lot of things on each one's plates, and it's hard to keep us all on the same page. But I think that's a struggle anywhere.
I think that's something that kind of happens when you've got a lot of creative people under one particular roof. when you've got people who are not necessarily pulling in different directions, but pulling in the same direction, just at slightly different angles. That's my experience, anyway.
It's tough. We just don't like to listen to each other enough.
Mate, I'm right there with. I don't like to listen to anyone. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not a big fan of being told what to do. But as long as you're all heading in the right direction, and with the beer that you,
us, that's for sure.
nobody listens to me. But with the beers that you guys are putting out, I mean, Andy raves about you. I've had a couple of your beers, and to be fair, it's kind of I've not had a bad one. So at the same time, it's kind of as long as the progression is there for the beers, I think that kind of still works.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep coming up with new things that will drive sales because people want something different every time. But like, there's only finite amounts of combinations of hops and stuff like that. So as long as they keep growing different varieties and we keep trying them in different ways, I don't know, it keeps things interesting. And the beer styles have gotten lighter and thinner and, I don't know, easier to drink. It's kind of changed a wee bit, but
Yeah.
it's all for the better.
No,
That's what he wants, isn't it?
Dan, do you have any do you have any core beers?
No, none.
You tend not to like have any core beers. It's just constant iteration on.
We do some
styles.
rebrews, but yeah.
BJ?
Is there
Each
like
year
a
we
standard
do
kind of framework for the recipes that you work with, or is it literally?
I don't really use a house yeast, so that is varying. Most of the recipes, the deepas are usually the same.
Yeah.
The triples, I don't mess with it where it needs to be, unless the trends kind of change a bit, and then it needs to be lighter or more wheat, or I try to go with what's happening, and just keep getting smarter with the way we use hops as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money's at.
Oh,
Yeah,
tell me about
exactly,
it. We actually, later on in the notes, we actually have some questions for you specifically about hops, so that's a good one. Just coming back to what you said about, I'm struggling trying to find the right word, but the different way in which you guys are trying to pull forward with the recipes and things like that. Would you say that is a defining? Would you say that kind of defines where your style of beer actually ends up? Is that you're all kind of pulling in the same direction, just at a slightly different angle?
I'm not sure, really. Basically, it's hard to decide what's going to sell.
Yeah.
It all has to sell like immediately, or it didn't work, and doing that every week is quite tough.
Yeah.
Because basically you don't want to have to put it in the fridge, and you don't want to have to wait around for it to sell, because that gets expensive, and and then the quality starts to dive as well. So, it's all been a learning process.
Yeah. What is the biggest selling style of beer then? What sells?
The triples sell really quick, but I don't think they make a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they help sell the other beers.
Because people will put. It's not like you're just buying one can, is it? You're gonna buy a stack load, but you don't want to have all triples as such. You want to you want to have some pales in there, and then some double IPAs and that sort of thing. So. But yeah,
that's why we got the different lagers going. We've got a Hefe that we've done a couple times. Nice. A lot of different sours. We're working on the stouts right now. Our kit's not quite big enough. It's just tough putting like 3/4 of a ton of malt in a kit that's meant to run on half of that. It's a lot of work.
So you're talking about, Dan? You're talking about like the big stouts.
Yeah, we're gonna need double mash all the time.
Yeah, that's painful.
And that's just a lot of work.
That's a long brew day.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Need a second mash tun, sounds it.
Or a bigger mash tun.
Like narrow, like a wider one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just too much malt to run off.
Yeah, because is it the shallower your mash bed is, the more efficiency that you'll get out of it? The kind
It'd
of
be a lot easier, yeah.
yeah.
See,
Def-
our kit's designed to run on about 400 kilos of malt,
Uh-huh.
and we're using like 700. So it kind of stinks.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks as far as that goes.
Especially if you've got to mash in that 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah.
Oh geez, yeah. Just not. Which of you gets the dirty end of the spoon and has to shovel out?
Charlie, our brewer, does all of it. He's the
Really?
man.
Yes.
That's his
Right.
home. Yeah.
You don't infiltrate his house. You leave him the hell alone, right?
I think he prefers that, and that's I love Charles. He's great.
That's
The only time I brew is when he's off.
all right.
So
All right.
I think I might have brewed like 4 or 5 batches this year.
Wow.
Well,
I get
So
stuck
what-
canning all the time.
Canning, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
all about the quality control at that point, isn't it? Right?
Ugh,
Yeah.
quality
So-
control.
It's all about packaging that product. So Dan, talk to us a bit about then your role in the brewery specifically. Kind of what are your responsibilities and that kind of thing?
Basically, I just manage production.
Yeah.
I work with the sales guys and the people that do the marketing and the designs to come up with a schedule. I do all the recipes from there. I do all the ordering and make sure it all comes through. Do the inventories, do the recipe sheets, do all that, and basically make sure everything can get done in the time it needs to.
All right. So you're like the puppet master.
And then
Yeah,
try
but-
to keep relevant and learn other things and change things and try to make improvements where we can.
Yeah, yeah. But you also
It's kind of been hard, yeah.
yeah. So you have that creative. You have the creative drive for Overtone.
Yeah, but it's a bit too much because I don't allow a lot of other people to put their influence in, and it started that way. So it's quite difficult now when other people
Yeah.
should be contributing. But it was always just me by myself, so it was really quite hard to let go and then to welcome other people in without certain fears of being replaced.
Yeah.
You know, you teach somebody everything you know, and then bye, you're gone. So
Yeah, just
why not?
don't ever teach them everything.
No,
Keep that.
you
one
can't teach them
important thing
everything
in
because
your
I don't
pocket.
even know half of anything. So
That's a fair point. So I want to get down into sort of the brewery itself and what I mean. I think you've already answered this question, but what's your preferred styles to brew? Give me 3. Give me your top 3.
I just love hoppy beers. I like a real IPA with some bitterness, and
So
it's
Westy.
coming back.
Yeah.
Not really even the label. I just like a proper IPA, like an American IPA that will coat your teeth.
What,
Something
you-
that will bite
Half
you.
your teeth disappear.
Oh, Arrogant Bastard was a great one, you know? Or like Pliny the Elder or something, something that you can kind of chew on.
Yeah.
I like that.
Drinkability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But-
Okay.
I like something
That's
that's
one.
easy to drink, without a doubt, but I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with the smoothies lately. That's kind of a new process I've learned, but I can't drink them because there's too much sugar.
Right. Okay.
I've recently
Smoothie
found out
beers.
I got health problems, so I drink less higher terminal gravity beers, so I'm drinking a lot of the lighter ones lately.
Oh, okay.
More sessionable products and stuff.
Okay. Well, it's one way to get around it.
Or you drink gin.
Or
Gin.
Stick to gin. Yeah. Gin's making a massive comeback round us. There's been a gin. I don't know if it's countrywide. I don't really pay attention to the rest. Yorkshire's where it's at. But there's been like a huge resurgence, and there's been a gin festival that went off in Leeds not too long back, and everybody from work went. I didn't go. I'm not the world's biggest fan of gin, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, everybody else went, and apparently gin's really huge now. Who would have thunk it, eh?
It's a bit scary. It's gotten quite girly.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not offensive. There's all these flavors and different things. It's like pink this or fruity this, and all you need is like a nice clear, like semi-spiced gin. Something you could drink on ice and tolerate it, you know?
Tolerate.
Because if you can't drink it like that, then it's not even worth drinking.
That's high praise. Tolerable gin.
And
Like
just to
whiskey,
highlight,
you know?
just to highlight this comment, there you go.
Yeah.
Shandy drinking Southerner says I'm
he's
3
got a
years
point.
behind. No. Yorkshire's not 3 years behind, Luke. I'm 3 years behind. I don't pay attention that much.
Yeah, I was like, gin's had a big resurgence like 3 years ago or pre-pandemic,
And the
definitely. Yeah.
People are making it in their closets and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fair few breweries that have kind of branched out into that, like distilling or craft distilling kind of thing. So, you know, I'm trying to think of Adnams, I think, have their own spirits and stuff now. There's obviously
I think they
quite a
distill
few.
their beer as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think they do a they do something that they distill from Broadside that's supposed to be quite good.
Is it the off batches of Broadside? You know
Probably,
that's probably a bit funky. They're like,
Is their equivalent of the homebreher that's
chuck it in the
distilling
still.
It's all the beer that came back after
COVID.
COVID, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, all right.
Amazing.
The thing is, like, gin's actually like pretty cheap to produce, right?
Yeah.
Compared to like making whiskey.
Whiskey's got all the
It's
storage.
Like, you kind of take like, you know,
Yeah, it's just the time.
standard white spirit and then chuck some spices in it. Sure, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's not like you've got
probably
to
not so
age
much.
gin for 12 years, is it?
Yeah.
Just the amount of time it takes for whiskey to come around, it's quite an investment. It's a bit silly, but it's
Cause
definitely worth it.
Dan, you barrel age some of your stouts, don't you, in whiskey barrels?
Yeah, we've got some in it's an Ayrshire distillery right now. Was it Lagavulin? No,
What's there? Sure, you've got Aaron. I don't know. Is it no? Is it? Oh, I don't know. Or is there a? There's a. What's the wheat one? Can't remember. There's a big production down in Ayrshire, I believe. Or is it Kilmarnock? Johnny Walker or something?
no, it's a smaller one. They grow their own whiskey, their own grains and stuff.
Bloody hell.
It's begin with an L, I think.
Okay.
Lafroig.
Oh man,
No, that's up north.
I don't know where any of them are, mate. All I know is that north of the border.
Is it no? Is it on the Isle of Arran, the south?
no, it's over in Ayr.
Okay. I've not heard
There
of
you
that
go.
one.
Andy's googling air breweries right now. Air distilleries, rather. Who knows?
Yep.
Terrible.
Oh, it's all Campbelltown.
Lockley.
There you go.
They
have
do
not
a couple
heard
of
of it.
different blends and stuff with different barrels, and they're planning like a long-term relationship where we can take an aged beer in it, and then they'll do a couple of different years in the whiskey afterwards, and then do some sort of blending and events and stuff like that. So they're quite keen to work with us. See, a lot of times the whiskey companies don't want to let us use their branding.
Yeah.
So how is that any good for us? Say if we're making beers with Anuk,
Yep.
we can't use their branding. So then we can't sell the beer. Nobody wants to buy it because they don't know what barrels you're using.
You can't even
So
just say using Anuk.
You could just say Highland whiskey barrels. That's it. And that doesn't really sell it. We need a relationship where it's like mutually beneficial. So this is
cool.
quite cool. So we'll see. I did a double mash stout at these barrels, and we'll see what happens. We've also got some bourbon barrels that we bought and some rum barrels. So I think the stereo beer there, that was probably our best stout. It was
Excellent.
cocoa
Talk us through
nibs, cocoa nibs, coffee beans, vanilla beans, all in the barrels and aged for a year. It's quite nice.
Bloody hell.
But
Sounds
we're
quite
reusing
nice.
those. Yeah, we'll see what happens now.
Dan,
the
we've had
rum
a
one was quite
question.
nice.
We've had a question on Facebook because we're currently live on YouTube and Facebook. So Tom Ben wants to know, what is your favourite hop and yeast combination?
I'm a bit. I don't know about the yeast thing. London 3 smells so great when you harvest it. It's a really good yeast. But I've always been off London Fog. But it's equally as good. But it doesn't work as well. But I don't know. I'm using a lot of blends lately. I don't really have a favorite yeast. Hops. Strata's way up there. Nelson.
Yes.
Citra just works with everything. El Dorado. I like Idaho 7 a lot.
Yep.
I think that's underappreciated.
What's your favourite combo with Strata specifically?
I got a new one coming. It's got Enigma, Strata, and Eclipse.
Check
That
out
one
you
should be
entering
pretty
that.
good.
You entering that competition? You looking for ideas?
No, not at all.
Oh dear.
What's it? Who's
11
it?
shilling.
I've just got some Strata that needs using up.
Dan, there's
It's
a
really
competition. There's a competition at the minute. Who is it? What's the brewery again? It's
Elusive.
Elusive, yeah, Andy Parker's brewery. And he's put out for homebrewers to do this thing with, is it Simpson's low colour Marisotter and 100 grams of Strata. And so, and it's
I mean, you don't actually have to use that in the beer though, which is a bit weird. So it's like you have to buy that to enter the competition, and it's like, this is our favourite hop and our house malt currently, which you buy to enter the competition, but you don't have to actually include it in the recipe. So it's, yeah, I don't know, bit of an odd one, but
yeah.
We use Simpsons in everything. They're the best. No question. I love them.
Yeah. Is it the lager malt you use?
I play the field with that as well. Their low color Maris is really great for pale ales, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The low color Golden Promise is in the bigger beers, and the lager most anything as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Just on sort of talking about sort of styles, what is your preferred style of beer to brew, you personally?
I used to like making Belgian beers. When I was homebrewing, I liked to make big beers. I made a 15% barley wine fermented on the US 1, and I was drinking it for like 5 years. It was amazing.
Were you drinking it for 5 years because you were drinking it a thimble full at a time?
No, it's because it was aged so long. It was the last beer that I actually made at home. I bottled it before my twins were born, and I consumed it when I moved over here. So
Right.
it aged for quite a while. It was pretty good. Aged on red wine oak chips. It was so thick you'd pour it, it'd be syrup, and then after it sits, then the head would form afterwards. Oh,
Sounds
better
like
than
a
wine.
banger.
Better than wine. So good.
Wow.
Yeah, haven't brewed at home since.
You've not brewed
that
at
was
home
like-
since that?
Nope, that's like 9 years ago. Well,
you
the
brew
boys are
the-
10, so 10 years ago.
Do you brew the
Yeah.
odd batch at work and just bring it home in kegs?
No. I've always dreamed that like a brewer's job. Oh yeah, I'd have a tap at home in a bar and all that, but no,
You don't.
never.
You don't.
That's-
I mean, bringing your work home just sucks.
No, it's just cans. That's the best thing I got. I can't complain about that though. It's the
No.
perfect container.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Single serving.
What
problem.
size bottles did you put your barley wine into?
I was using the bombers, the big ones. Most of my beer I was bottling into Belgian bottles, and I was caging and corking them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like big beers.
I mean, we're getting that impression, mate, especially when you're talking about brewing tippers and having
So I kind
having
of
seen
use
the
that
ABV
too.
of some of your they're pretty mental, pretty mental. So just going back to the start, and one thing that kind of got me was you clearly don't like brewing the same beer twice. You're clearly not a big fan of that. So
Anytime we do brew it, though, we make it better.
So how do you constantly come up with these new beers? How do you constantly come up with new beers to brew? Is it just tweaks upon a theme, or is it can it literally be starting from scratch, absolutely brand new, bottom to top?
It's a combination of different things. It's like evolution of the product itself, but then the variety of new hops coming all the time. I haven't really had the opportunity where I have brewed something again by accident. But say you take one hop combination and then you use it in a pale ale. Why can't you use that in a triple or something? It's a completely different beer.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
well,
yeah, totally.
And I love the rebrews like Southern Hemisphere and stuff.
Oh.
Every time we brew that, it gets better and better. And that's like our first beer that like hit the mark. That was it.
Southern's a Nelson beer, isn't it?
Nelson,
It is.
Topaz, Citra, and Galaxy.
It is an absolute screamer. Because it did it not, I think it started at 6% and then it's now at 6.5%, is it? Or
Yeah. I think it's the same with like some of the other beers as well, because that's kind of like the happy spot.
Yep. Yeah, that is such a good beer, that. Because I think I tried to brew, was it the Northern Hemisphere at one point? Just using the same type of hops, and then I think he gave us a wee bit of a guidance on it, sort of thing. But yeah,
Was that Equinox, Mosaic, and
yeah,
Eldorado or something?
yeah, would it have been? I don't
No.
know. But Mosaic, yeah, Equinox, yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, that one's just not as popular as the other one. It's just the Southern Hemisphere hops people love so much.
Just it's Nelson. That's what it is. It's just an absolute.
Yeah, but
banger.
do you ever see anybody using Topaz? Nobody uses that.
No. So you get that nice and cheap.
No, it's not so much that. It's just different.
Yeah.
Is that Australian? Is that an Aussie hop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Think
can't
so.
even remember the last commercial beer that I've had that included that.
Well, they're
I've certainly
still
not
growing
brewed
it,
with
so
it for a long
somebody's
time.
got to use it.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
It's not all going to Overtone, surely.
I'm a bit disappointed. They stopped growing the HBC 472 hop. They're pulling that all up, and it's gone.
Oh.
The one with the coconut and the barrel aged flavor to it.
Mhm.
We used to use that in our first stout.
And it's gone. Jeez.
Wow,
That's a shame.
that's crazy.
They never even
Yes.
gave it a name. It's been around for 5 years, and they never named it.
Wow.
That's like, was it? No, it's not like, but Sultana Denali is a bit of a kind of funny
Yeah,
one. That's
That one's funny. Razor sharp.
Mhm.
That one's hard to use.
Is it pineapple sort of type?
It's supposed to be, but it's just bitey.
It's pure dank. It's dank as
Yeah.
hell. Yeah. It's quite
Wow.
addictive.
Well, Dan, given that you've just rattled off a bunch of hops that I have in the freezer that I'll be honest with you have been, for want of a better term, underwhelming. And if I was to give it my normal assessment, absolutely fucking shite. Can you tell me how it is I'm supposed to use Enigma and have it not taste like a 14-day-old tea bag?
Hopefully nobody's getting teabagged for 14 days.
I mean, if they are, they must really love it.
They must.
Chris's fantasy.
Enigma's amazing,
Talk
man.
about stamina. That's really where it's at. I mean, come on.
It's quite fruity, but it can be quite dank as well. Use it like Strata.
Okay. I've not used Strata, so how do I use
It's really
this?
nice.
I've not brewed
I
with
like
Strata
the-
because I don't have any.
Well, it depends. You could go in the whirlpool with it, and you could go in the late dry hop with it as well. It's quite nice. Or just make a beer with some Citra and that, and like just use it at different times, just to try to get something different from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
What else were you brewing with it?
I can't actually remember what else I put in with the Enigma.
It goes
It
well
might
with
have
Galaxy
been-
as well.
It might have been Idaho 7. But it was just an absolute... It was terrible. It was so acrid. Not like burnt, but like really acidic in the tongue, and
Maybe
it
it was the
wasn't
beer.
It wasn't infected. It was the same base that I've used for probably 12 or 15 beers, you know. There was nothing wrong with the brew day. There was nothing wrong with the base. It was just, it came out with that, for want of a better term, you know, that really harsh bitterness you get when you boil Galaxy, or when you expose Galaxy to any heat above about 70
Galaxy's
degrees.
quite tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. It was really astringent, really harsh. The beta
High beta.
acid bitterness. Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Vic Secret nowadays.
I've not used
That's
any
another
21
one.
or 22 Vic Secret, so I wouldn't know.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
A real
I've
shame.
got nearly 10 kilos of hops in the freezer to get through before I'm allowed to buy any more, Dan.
I take it with these type of hops, then you only would look to dry hop with it.
What, Enigma?
Again?
Yeah, like the high beta ones, like Galaxy.
Galaxy's Whirlpool all the way.
Yeah,
Just a little bit in the dry hop. It gets too grassy. But that's my opinion.
yeah.
But then some people are making single hop Galaxy beers, but they have the ability to pick what Galaxy they're using as well. So they get to fine tune it a bit, where I just get the Galaxy I'm given.
Yeah.
But
So, would you not? Is it Yakima Chief that you normally use?
it depends. Galaxy comes from Australia,
Oh, yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
Barthos.
Yeah, that importer.
Yakima's finally getting into New Zealand, but I still buying from the small companies that grow there, like Freestyle Hops or Hop Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Their product
Yeah.
isn't as refined, but the quality and the flavors are just amazing. So they're going to have to catch up on technology, though, now that Yakima Chief's in there with a cryo hops. So that's something to look forward to. Things will change.
Yeah.
Even Crosby's starting to do cryo pellets. They got the CGX pellets coming, so you'll get Strata CGX. Stuff like that. So
Wow.
that could be interesting.
It was only a matter of time. It's not exactly a complicated process.
No,
Is it
I was really
patented,
quite
though?
surprised. Yeah, but they can't really hold the rights to it. People could do anything.
Yeah.
Like, they'll have their own method, so it'll be just a different name, but it'll be pretty
Yeah.
much the
It's
same
Really
thing.
just a trademark on the brand name,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think, as
Yeah.
far as I'm aware. So they can't call it Cryo, but Lupamax is the same thing.
Yeah, it's the
and
same thing.
CGX is the same. Yeah.
Or BBC type. Oh.
It'll just be variations upon a process, you know, that'll yield pretty much just the same result. It
Yakima
can't-
had that new one this year. They did they cryo hopped fresh hops. So while they were still fresh, they froze them and then made cryo pellets out of them.
Wow.
Yeah, who was
That
talking
was
about that?
That was in the Hop City beer. It's like YCH 301 or something like that.
Yes, we had someone on the podcast.
Amazing.
I'm sure was talking about that at some point.
I thought it was,
It was
they were
amazing.
talking about they froze fresh hops so you could actually use fresh hops in your brewery.
We did that as well, but that was like last year.
Yeah. June.
This one they actually made a cryo, so you don't have all that other solid matter going with it. But it still has to be kept like at sub-zero temperatures.
How crazy is that?
So it makes shipping quite difficult.
Yeah.
And then you have to use them immediately once they come as well. But the flavor
Wow.
was just amazing. It was so
Insane.
intense. It's like the hops didn't fall out. Usually you put them in and they come out the bottom. These, like, it just was pure lupulin and it just became part of the beer. It was like custard.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. Well, while we're pondering, oh come on, who's highlighting these? Andy, you've got a serious fan club, mate. There's been some serious comments going off. I think you need to have a word with
He's
your
got some
mate, Dex.
stalkers.
He definitely has.
That's Dell.
Is that what it is?
It's Dell,
He's
yeah.
got like 8 accounts and he's giving it grief. Yeah, that's what I was just about to
That's a
highlight.
more serious question from.
Yeah.
Why can't they get Southern Hemisphere in the shops? He had it at the, I don't know what a Y kegging is last year, and it was phenomenal.
I don't know. We just brewed it and packaged it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you can get it. I had it recent.
Probably on the web shop sale.
Yeah. So Dell, get on.
Basically, Dell your crap. Sort it out. Go to a different shop. They probably don't have it at your local, mate. Walk a bit further. So, here we go. What's your reference material when you're deciding where in the brew to add each hop? Or is it a combo of multiple small batch experiments?
I don't really do the small batches. I make big mistakes and I learn.
I was going to say, you don't seem like the kind of guy with a development kit.
No.
Not anymore, no. I did all the hop trials and yeast trials and all that when we first started, but I don't have the time. Or the patience at that rate anymore. It's all about the oil content and how well it's used and the best way to get what you want out of it.
Sorry, I was muted. It becomes a whole lot of science at that point, doesn't it? And kind of
Yeah, hop
looking
oil
at what
compounds
way to
and
put it. Yeah.
with yeast and yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like, guys, you need to be a little bit more experimental. Dare I say, you'll need to push back the foreskin of brewing science a little bit and experiment with your hops. I got it in.
There you go.
Yes, I'm happy now. So yeah, the what has been the progression of your beer recipes? When you first started, were you brewing pretty much the same thing as you are now? Were you pushing out the big hazy Neepers and the bigger beers, or did you start off with more, I hate to use the word, but more standard pale ales and double dry hops and things like that? Or did you just go balls deep from the outset?
It's kind of just taking the volume and just constantly turning it up. Constantly.
Right.
And sooner or later you just become deaf. So then you have a couple of Millers, you know, and a couple of MGDs.
Tinnitus starts to kick in.
You reset your Lupulin threshold and start over again.
Yeah.
Can you even taste like a standard pale ale anymore then?
Yeah. We just rebrewed Ouija again, and that was quite easy going. We're trying to do a lot of lower ABV pales. They seem to be quite popular, like 3%, stuff like that. We did a sour last week, 3.5%. So I think we'll try to do a beer with Mash Gang this year as well, and try to get like a 0.5er.
So what's your strategy when you're going for those lower ABV pale ales? Have you
it's just all about getting enough haze and mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, so high mash temps and lots of extra
some quality malt. Flaked wheat.
That's what we were using. Flaked wheat and what else? It was just, I think when Unity gave us the, what was the beer, Owen? It was Conflux. And I used that for a low ABV pale, and it was just beautiful, like loads of body and stuff, and it was just using the same sort of, just layering all that kind of flaked wheat and I think standard wheat and stuff like that as well. And it was
talking of wheat, Andy's been a big proponent of the white wheat since talking.
Chateau Wheat Blanc.
Ah, the Chateau Blanc.
Yep.
So
because they don't grow white wheat in the UK.
Yeah. So what's your take on like the difference for that versus the standard? It's red wheat is the standard.
Yeah.
UK
In America, they
equivalent, right?
grow white wheat. So
Right.
a lot of the guys doing the Hazy Boys were using white wheat. It's a bit softer,
Okay.
and the color's a bit lighter as well.
You get less of that wheat flavour, don't you?
Yeah, but sometimes you got to be careful because if you use too much, it gets a bit gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the haze.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dishwatery sort of.
Yeah, it's just not
greyness.
nice. So you got to keep it down to a minimum.
Yeah.
But the flaked wheat doesn't do that either. So that one's quite nice.
What's
Cool.
your
But then
thoughts on
flaked wheat's a bit drier as well.
What's your thoughts on torrefied wheat, Dan?
I don't think that hazes anything.
No,
No, it's good for head retention.
and that's it.
It's got a
I was
good
gonna
flavor
say-
to it, but
I like torrefied wheat in a bitter. It's
Yeah.
nice. Works really well. Yeah.
I just don't think
Use
in
a lot.
the hazies it does very much. It's like malted oats. It just makes the mash really difficult. It just doesn't really haze a beer either.
Okay. Interesting. You see, this is what brewing's all about. Occasionally, you get a brewer on and he just spills all the beans. Cheers, Dan.
I don't know anything, so it's experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've used
Anybody
it,
else can
clearly
find
you've
this
had
out
those
on Google.
experiences.
Well,
The problem with Google is Google will tell me that Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, and the bloke from the Doors are all alive serving burgers in Kansas. I don't believe Google anymore. Yeah, Jim Morrison, that's his name. Big fat dead guy in a bathtub. That's him, yeah.
Yeah, the bathtub.
I think
Yeah.
they actually colonised Mars.
Did
So,
they?
Yeah.
Is that why Elon wants to go there?
Yeah, correct.
Wow. Wow. Well, there we go. You learn something new every day. I think at this point we should take this one to the commercial break.
it's a good idea. I've just run out.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
to
I'm
another
running
one?
empty.
Another beer. Yep.
Let's go.
do
Commercial
it.
break. Yes. This is where we all get another beer and we all sit down and we all drink it. And I am really enjoying winding Deck up at the moment. Sorry, Dell up at the moment. It's hilarious.
Which one's
Hilarious.
Del? What's his username?
Derek.
Oh, I assumed that was
That's Dale.
Derek.
No,
No,
Derek
no.
Hodge.
It's not
No,
Deck
no.
Derek, it's Del Derek.
Dale's been at the pub. The thing is, Dale's been at the pub since the Celtic game today.
I would have never have guessed.
Yeah.
Based on the comments that have been coming in.
Yeah, because I was.
He's
looking
wrecked.
I was looking at it thinking, Derek's never normally that rude. He's normally a very polite man.
No, this is my Dale. Dale's
Wow.
teaming.
I have to say, I am looking forward to this particular beer. Quite a lot.
What you got?
Me? Well, am I going to have to go first now? Because I've wet
You
everybody's
teased
whistle.
us. Yeah, go on, you teased us.
Okay, well, I am having, since I had to make a rapid trip to Aldi, it tells
Oh.
you the beer that I'm drinking.
Is it
I'm
tribute?
having St. Austell's Tribute. Because I haven't had this in bloody ages. And I fancied a nice, clear, crisp beer. And, yeah.
It's quite funny. They sent me a cease and desist because I had a beer named Tribute.
Did they send a cease and desist to Jack Black
No.
for his song?
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Lovely, crisp, clean, tastes exactly the same way that it always has done. I was kind of wondering whether or not it had changed anything in the sort of 12 years it is since 10 years it is since I've actually drunk a can of this. It's still as cracking as ever, and the can art's amazing. Look at that can.
Have they been
It's
canning it
purple.
that long?
I was going to say, it wouldn't have been in cans 10 years ago, would it? It was only
Well, I probably
bottles.
had it in a bottle then, but that was the last time I had it. Gorgeous, beautiful beer. Love it. There we go. That's my commercial over and done with. I'll get another one out towards the
That
end.
was nice and easy.
It's a great beer.
Who's next?
Boom.
Oh man. Well,
Done.
what am I drinking? I'm drinking Overtone Out the Zone, 10%, Double Dry Hop Tipper, Galaxy Simcoe, Brew 1 Eldorado. By the way, this does not taste 10%. It's so easy drinking. I don't know how you do it, Dan, but yeah.
Andy's going to be absolutely battered.
Yeah, after 2 beers. It's dead smooth, and it's quite balanced with the bitterness, with the alcohol, obviously. Since why it's going down quite well.
I've just been struggling with the sweet beers lately.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
It's got a bit of sweetness to it, but it's not like crazy sweet or anything like that. It's got a nice bit of bitterness that's offsetting it. No, it's good. Nice.
Very nice.
Very
Owen's
good,
looking slightly confused.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about this beer. I didn't have any overtone, Dan. I'm sorry, but I am.
No, you're fine.
I'm going to go to one of your Scottish compatriots, which is Vault City. And I'm drinking one of them.
Oh, I almost grabbed the Vault City out the fridge.
Yeah, I beat you to it. So I bought this bought this in Tesco's, and they were doing some pretty good deals in Tesco's. And this is one of their modern sour beers. This is their raspberry strawberry coconut ripple sour. It's a silly beer at 6%. And I've had a couple of their modern sour beers, actually. It seems like I'm on a bit of a sour trend on the commercial. I'm sure if you look back at the last 10 episodes, at least 3/4 of those have been sours. But on the nose, it's like they've just absolutely nailed that description. Just nailed it. Like, it's everything that
they do really well.
Raspberry, strawberry, coconut ripple. On the nose, hit the nail on the head. On the flavour, the flavours is also very reminiscent. And then, like, you know, some breweries are like, I swear sometimes breweries make a beer and it doesn't quite come out how they want it to, and then they taste it and go, that tastes a bit like this, and then they name the beer however it came out.
But it's really hard to do that with the way things progress. Like, you have to have the label done before the beer's even brewed, more or less, in order to get it packaged in time.
Okay.
It makes it quite tough.
I'll put my cynicism back in the box, Dan. Thank you.
No, it sucks. It's hard.
But yeah, I mean, like they really have nailed that. Or breweries will tend to put a kind of a label on with an aim to kind of brew a particular beer, and it never quite kind of hits all of the adjectives that they decide to include. But on the flavour of this beer, it's kind of up front. You get this sweetness. You're definitely getting the strawberry. You get the tartness from the raspberry. Then it rolls into kind of like a gooseberry. If you eat a gooseberry, you get that like real tangy sourness. It's kind of like that. That's what it kind of rolls into, and then you've got this lovely fluffy mouthfeel, and almost this kind of meringue thing going on right the way through it. It's a cracking beer.
Their lactose strain is quite particular. It's got this certain character to it, and you'll find it in every one of their beers. With all their grocery store jobs now, they're going to get like up to 5 million expected for this year. So they're busy.
5 million sales.
Yes.
Holy, that's a lot.
They're not
of
messing
beer.
around, man.
They ain't
One of
fucking
my
around.
brewers went there, so she's
Pretty impressive for a brewery that's turning out sour beers as well.
Jesus
Christ.
She sends me free beer all the time.
It's amazing.
They're knocking out of the park at Vault City. They really
Yeah.
are, absolutely.
I have to say, I've not had a bad one from them yet.
And I think,
when
I
you
think
first started seeing them popping up in Tesco's or whatever, would you have ever thought they'd have actually become that, with how niche sort of sour beer would have been at that time?
But is it not a couple of young lads that own it or run it?
The guy from Holy Goat was involved in it, but he's on his own now, doing his own thing. But the owner of Vault City, he is so involved. He is so he's just trying different things. They bought an ice cream truck to drive around and sell slushies. Like, they do different things. They paint up a taxi cab, Vault City, all over it. They bought a tasting room and a smokehouse kind of restaurant thing. And they're just not slowing down. They're just trying everything. He's really involved. I've got
That's
so
cool.
much respect for him.
Best
It's
way
really
to
cool.
get a flavour, isn't it? Is to have your finger in all the pies.
He's got a lot of
Just
pies.
pushing the marketing.
Yeah.
Are you on first name terms with him, Dan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been out there
Give
a
him a
few
nudge.
times, and they take really good care of us.
Give him a nudge. Tell him he needs to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the smokehouse
Please.
barbecue side of things than anything
Oh.
else. I'll be honest.
I don't know about vegan smokehouse either, but you can
Is it a
keep the
vegan
vegan
smokehouse?
sausages.
Ah.
No, they had some vegan sausages and stuff. We got the platters.
Oh, thank fuck.
Oh man, we had so much food.
I
Oh,
was about to retreat rapidly on that.
My
Yeah.
God, I was about to say don't bother sending that email, but Jesus. Nah, man.
no, but everything else, it was just amazing. You're sitting around. They have a lot of our beers on and just drinking sours and eating barbecue. It's quite good.
Yeah.
They're working with a curry company now. I saw some of their adverts. It's quite interesting. They're trying a lot. I got a lot
Wow.
of respect for them.
I think what I like about Vault City is they're like really pushing the fold on the flavour vibe, like the different crazy flavours, but it doesn't seem like to me they're resorting to fake flavours or like flavourings. I could be wrong there, Dan's smirking, but if they are, they're absolutely nailing it. But I think they're like skirting on the right side of it. Like, there's a danger that they kind of start to head off into the kind of tiny rebel route, which is kind of just a bit like, yeah.
I mean, that's
a
a
bit too
bold
much.
statement.
Yeah, but like but that's what I'm saying. They're treading that line really nicely to still keep it like flavorful, not tasting like chemicals, and
I think Tiny
you
Rebel
know,
lost their
still
way when they
exciting.
just started to grow so much.
Yeah,
Like when a brewery just
exactly.
tries to explode, it just the quality
Can
ends up
do, yeah.
break. Yeah.
And that's the danger. Like that, you get into the supermarket contracts. You got to expand quickly. Vault City seems to be
Save
doing
money.
a great job. You know, yeah. So hats off to them.
Smokehouse, I don't care. If he's bought a curry company, I might move up to Scotland.
Yes.
I'm joking, I would never do that.
I know you wouldn't.
Nah,
Vegan barbecue for Chris.
I don't know if he'd accept you, Chris.
well, I'm half Scottish.
Well, you are half Scottish, that's
I'm
right.
almost there, mate.
You've already got the passport.
I've got the New Zealand one. I never bothered with the Scottish one. Yeah, the wonderful thing about sort of having your finger in all those pies as well and having those shops is you've got a guaranteed outlet for your beers. You've got a guaranteed selling point for your beers. I mean, it's good. And to be fair, I'm sat here and I'm thinking, how often do you see taxi cabs driving around the city that you're nearest to? Owen's pretty much in Southampton. I've no idea where you're like in the fucking arse end of nowhere, Andy. But Tricky's like in the middle of Bedford. You're going to see taxi cabs wherever you go. Why wouldn't you just pay them whatever it is that they want to wrap their taxi in your logo? I mean, that's a brilliant idea.
I think it was at Edinburgh they did that, or was it Glasgow?
It was Edinburgh.
Yeah, so,
Yeah. The ice cream truck's pretty cool too.
yeah.
Does it sell beer?
Yeah. Sour.
Yeah.
Outstanding!
It's like smoothies.
It's the only
So it's
one
like
where you
a
get adults
slushy
chasing it
machine.
down the road. That's
Yeah.
mint.
That is pretty cool.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
So
Is
what,
that-
Keep you guessing.
So yeah, Tricky, if you got a
Sorry,
if you
mate,
got a
crack
commercial beer,
I do actually, as it happens.
off on that tangent.
I'm continuing my sort of lower strength continental theme for the evening. I've got
Burning
Oh,
Sky.
Burning
Burning Sky. Which one? I'm turning it the wrong way. Petit
Petite
Cerise.
Cerise. Nice.
So this is, if I read the blurb on the back, special edition of their classic barrel-aged Petit Saison. This iteration has been rested on second wash sour cherries for a light, refreshing and slightly tart fruit beer So I assume second wash means they've put those cherries through something else first, and then they're throwing that beer on top of them afterwards. And there it is in the glass. So it's it's got a little bit of hazy, but lovely light sort of rose kind of pink shade to it. Smells a bit farmyardy with the
Bit funky.
the sweet kind of little bit, but it's not like overpowering kind of funkiness to it. It's just a very, very slight sort of rustic kind of farmyard note there, and then the sweet kind of cherry. And flavour wise, a little bit of that kind of saison spice, but very light, very refreshing. Beautiful cherry flavour coming through from it. Little bit tart, but not like overwhelmingly kind of sour or biting on that front. So it's another lovely beer, yeah. So for a 3.5% as well, that's packing plenty of flavour in. So I bought that in the local bottle shop because our good friend and podcast supporter Brett recommended that one to us, and it's great. So cheers for that, Brett.
Brett is a legend.
Just remember to wash your cherries twice.
I've got to wash them twice.
I don't recommend, by the way, if you are washing your cherries, using the peppermint and eucalyptus body wash that I've currently got. It's interesting.
Oh no! Right, okay.
Refreshing, mate. Refreshing.
Refreshing is an understatement, mate. You get out of the shower and you feel fucking cold.
Oh, it's like washing naked in a Scottish loch. No.
Okay.
No.
Anywho,
I had to try and hold the laughter on that one.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
It's like wearing a kilt in January, you know?
yeah,
That's the one.
refresh.
I've just got an image of somebody bathing in Loch Ness, and that's where the theory of the Loch Ness monster came from. Anyway,
If anybody bathed in it, they probably get pulled in and die anyways, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
they're getting rescued.
They're going.
Yeah, see you later.
Mad. So, we haven't actually asked Dan what he's drinking, have we?
I'm drinking a Hefeweizen.
Good lad.
Oh,
Oh, it's an Overtone Hefe.
you'll need to you'll need to
right.
tell us the yeast.
It's free.
23% Hefe.
Some
it's
self-promotion
the-
done.
It's the American Hefe yeast.
Oh.
So
it doesn't
no
have
banana,
any,
no clove.
a little bit of clove. It's got some apple to it as well.
Oh,
It's quite nice. But it doesn't have the gene where it continues to ferment post-package as well, so
Bonus.
it's quite nice, yeah.
that's always a bonus, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, no. Good beer.
It's got a good bit of banana to it. It's quite
I
nice.
know that you're ever so slightly biased, but good beer. You enjoying it?
I like it because it's not very sweet.
You're not
It's
a big
the
fan
lower,
of the sweet
the
beers, is
lower
what I'm getting.
terminals. Not lately, no. I've recently become diabetic, so I'm having
Right.
to change my whole consumption. Okay.
Thanks, Tricky. Yes. No. That's. I've got to admit, I do like a drier beer as well. I'm not a big fan of the super sweet enders. They're not my bag. That's why I like Quake, because that tends to end up quite dry no matter what you do to it. No matter what you feed it, it ends up dry. I like Quake for that reason.
You could literally boil the mash and it would still finish at
Yeah.
like
10:02. Yeah. It's one step away from being fucking
In
champagne.
like 2 days.
That long? You're fermenting at 8 degrees. It's awesome stuff.
Dan, Dan, you don't tend to use Quebec, do you?
Nah, we did one, and that was about it.
Yeah.
The guy at Neon Raptor, he uses it and everything. And I was asking him
really?
the other day, I was like, "You using that in your stouts as well? Because they make some pretty good stouts." And yeah, he uses it in everything. Everything.
Do you know which strain it is?
No, not particularly. No.
Probably Voss.
I'm just surprised. It's just such a workhorse. It's just a production yeast. It's perfect.
It's Voss as
brilliant.
far as I know, because they did suggest Voss as the option in the Brew Day all grain kit that they collaborated on. So unless it's something else that's not.
Oh, it's a Neon Rap? No.
Neon
What was
Raptor,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, Neon Raptor, yeah.
But it would cut your production time in half. It would be amazing. It would just be like.
Yeah, I was going to ask Dan,
Money.
is that there's got to be commercial benefits to be able to turn round a beer and it be pretty clean after, effectively, probably a third of the time?
Yeah, and you wouldn't have all those other side flavors that you would get with some other yeast you have to worry about. It's not like you're going to have to worry about diacetyl or anything like that.
You wouldn't even have to chill it either.
Not really. You just
pitch it at 85, and by the time it gets down to bottling temp, it's finished and conditioned.
So, given those advantages, Dan, why did you guys choose not to continue with it?
I
You
just didn't
not like it.
No.
Well, I'm
It's
with you
just
on
too
that
weird for me. It's just not natural.
Yeah, it's... I don't know.
It's just not right. I agree entirely.
I personally just find it to be a yeast which has so many benefits as far as turnaround flavor, and I really like the orange flavor that you get from Voss. I'm a big fan of it.
Do you have one of those little wooden things on the string and then you just chuck it in there?
No. I just buy a packet. But that's the other thing as well. Pitching rate. You would only actually have to pitch like 4 grams to ferment out 2,500 litres. So you'd be fine, man. You could just buy a little 11-gram sachet and use it for 2 brews.
That might be.
I doubt that's...
Dan, have you ever used Evergarden? Or what Kvike does he use? Was it Voss?
It'd be Hornidal, probably.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a massive fan of Evergarden. Kind of not dissimilar to like LA3 in terms of the ester profile that it punches and hazes beers up nicely. Yeah, you should have a think about Evergarden, Dan. Maybe
I was doing it like I was hitting the trend and I was brewing one. It was just a NEPA and it was like a one-off, and that was it. It just didn't. I don't know. Didn't really go. I think it's a comfort thing.
Evergarden, check it out. It's my tip for you tonight.
Deck's been auto-blocked.
For 5 minutes.
Oh, outstanding. I love our Facebook settings. Right. What were we talking about now? So clearly you come from a homebrewing background. Sorry, Dan. We gotta move.
No, you're fine. Really?
No. So you do come from a homebrewing background, but how long were you a home brewer? And obviously we know, but how did you make the move from being a home brewer to being a commercial brewer, or did the home brewing come after you went into the commercial brewing?
I was a chef. I worked at Country Club.
I fucking like you more and more every time you open your face. Let's just keep going with it. You get so many things I need to talk to you about.
I worked on an island in Long Island, Fisher's Island, and I would do all my recipes in the winter, and I would send out the yeast and all the dry ingredients to be there when I get there. So I would have all my recipes written during the winter months, and I would do all my brewing in the summer. I would work out there early in the spring, so it would allow me a couple of months to brew all my beer for the summer. And then I would work the country club, and then in the fall I would fish. So the whole time you need beer. So I was a home brewer.
Man, this is awesome.
It got so bad that I was like brewing 2 batches in a day. Just because
we've all
the
been
amount of time
there.
it's set up and clean up and all that. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do on an island. Drink and fish.
How big's Fisher Island?
Fisher's Island is probably about 15-20 minutes in a car from one end to the other.
So about the same size as Singapore.
About 5 miles. It's quite small.
Yeah.
Singapore, I don't know. No, I
Roughly
imagine Singapore is a
the same
lot
size
bigger.
as Singapore.
Probably about the size of... It's smaller than Glasgow, I'll tell you that. Takes me half an hour to get to work every day, so... But that's at
Wow.
70. But,
Okay.
No, it's a really small island. It had a country club at the top bit, and the top half of the island was for the club members' houses and stuff. And then the rest of the island is mostly locals and your individuals that are quite interesting, like the guy who surfs in the middle of winter out there and shit like that, you know.
You're Atlantic
cool.
coast if you're talking about that as well, aren't you?
Yeah. See, there's
Yeah,
two different types of
nobody-
Americans, usually. There's, like, East Coast or West Coast. Unless you're poor enough or like, bad enough off to live in the middle of the country. That it's just, there's, like, two different mentalities I always used to see it as. Like, there's the East Coast mentality and then the West Coast mentality. I couldn't get along in California. It just didn't do it for me. I tried, but obviously the East Coast guy. I would do New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, and Florida. I lived in all of those.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Because I had to look on the map. Are you from being from New Hampshire? Are you slightly further north of Toronto
No.
on
I wouldn't say so.
latitude?
No, we're about even with Scotland almost.
Well, that explains why you ended up in Glasgow.
Sunny Glasgow.
But yeah, no, I'll be honest, mate. I've been sitting here for like the entirety of the hour and 25 minutes that we've been chatting, and I've been trying to work out your accent, and it sounds like a cross between Dublin and Toronto to me.
I get some of the Irish bit, but I don't know why people say I'm Irish, but I'm not.
Specifically, like
Glasgow's a bit
Northern
tough.
Irish.
Northern Irish, that's the one. Like
Yeah.
County Down, that kind of area. Yeah.
Like blow up your vine kind of Irish.
My name's Michael, and I make bombs for a living. Yeah, that one. Yeah. No, it's definitely in there, man. There's Toronto twang. That's what I will say.
New Hampshire's a bit weird. We say wicked, and a lot of stuff like that. But I was living in New York so much, I got to go back and recharge my accent a bit.
Yeah.
Because the last time I went to the States, I went to Florida, and I don't speak enough Spanish.
No hablo español.
No habla español, no.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's get to the meat of this conversation and the thing that I think is good. This is going to run this one. So, being as you are a brewery that uses quite a lot of hops, being as you are a brewery, and we've already touched on this within the podcast, we've talked about Cryo and Bathhouse and was it CX or XC or VG or whichever one it was that we were talking about. What are your thoughts on Cryo versus T90 versus Incognito and Spectrum? What do you think about all these different things? And more importantly, whereabouts within your brewing process would you use the, let's say, the liquid products, the Incognito and stuff like that? Or are you literally green all the way through?
All right, the beef.
Strap in.
Yeah. I do not really like the Spectrum. I've tried it a few times. It's really tough to use. It's just not a very usable product. It's like tar. You gotta pour it into a jug and you need to mix it into something. And, you know, there's a possibility of contamination and aeration and all that. So it has to be into a fermenting beer. Or to your wort, like before you bitch. So you'll mix it into your wort. Sometimes, I know Fierce does that. They use Spectrum in the fermenter straight off. They do that with like the Mash Gang beers. Keeps the price down, I think. But
yeah,
Incognito, I really like Incognito, but that's a Whirlpool hop.
Yep.
Chilled Whirlpool all the way. It's just amazing. It requires a little bit more conditioning time, but at least it kind of softens. Like the Spectrum tastes a bit metallic. I don't know if you guys notice that, but some people really like that. So like, I can't really bash it either way. It's just something I don't really care for. As far as like refined hop products, I'm looking forward this year. There's some new products coming from us from New Zealand. Hop Keef. I imagine that's just like cryo, but like in a powder form. I don't know. I think they grow too much weed out there, and they're just getting confused.
Yeah. That's where I'd heard that terminology.
It's just got to be like a powder of pure lupulin and leaf. But who knows? That could be quite interesting. There's also a new hop product coming out. It's like a blend of different hops, but it has New Zealand passion fruit seeds ground up in it.
What?
Now that brings certain characters into it, kind of like the grapes that they're using. What is it?
Is it Phantasma?
Yeah, like that. They bring in different chemical reactions with the different hop compounds and stuff like that, creating new flavors. So that could be interesting as well. I'm part of what is it? Hop Revolution's experimental products. So try that out and see what happens. As far as cryo or regular hops, cryo is about 2 times the equivalent in T90s.
Is
So
that
the whole
true?
thing is,
Dan, is that
that's about-
true?
that's about where I use. Yeah, and
Yeah?
price-wise as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you use 10 kilos of T90, that's worth 5 kilos of cryo.
Yeah.
But I
it's,
still
it's
think
more.
you'll get a better
It's 3
character out
times
of the
as
cryo.
expensive, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
yeah.
not? Is it? It's not twice the price, though, is it?
It depends on how you're getting it.
Yeah.
To us, it's 4
pretty close.
times the price.
To you?
Dan,
Yeah.
it's probably twice
But I
the
think
price.
you get a bit more aroma and flavor out of it. It's worth it. It's just how
Yeah.
you use it. Like, we struggle. We can't use a lot of hops in the kettle. I can only put 10 kilos in there. How am I going to maximize that and minimize my loss? Hop cryo. Or incognito. Because you want
Yeah.
as much flavor on the hot side that you can get. And then those compounds will be transformed through biotransformation. End up
Are you
with
saying-
hazy, fruity, different flavors.
Are you saying so? You say kettle? Is that including your whirlpool?
That is my whirlpool, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because we don't really use much for bittering hops. Much.
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
No. Most of the beers we boil and then add the hops at the end or like after chilling
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, you were talking about like the passion fruit seeds and the Phantasma.
Phantasm? Yeah, it's like
Phantasm.
grape must or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. But a lot of that's related to the new file release yeasts. Have you seen those? Are you interested in
Yeah.
using them?
We used one in poolside, but I'm kind of thinking of it as a different way. If you do your research, other yeast that we already use do that. They just don't
Yeah.
do it as well or as effectively as that, like the different genetic versions of yeast. So you
Yeah.
can still use those methods to get different flavors the same way with the yeast
just
you
a-
already use.
It's kind of just a supercharged.
It's not about
yeast.
supercharging. It kind of changes the flavor slightly by giving you a different end result. Say you take Nelson and then you mash hop with like Saz or Cascade or Calypso or whatever. It'll taste more like grapefruit when it finishes than it would have if you didn't.
Yeah.
So it's just little bits of the puzzle going in different places to get a slightly different end result. It doesn't change a lot.
Have you tried
But
the?
it is
have
noticeable.
Have you tried the mash hop massage?
Not with Saws.
No, but with
The Germans,
Cascade?
the Germans have had a really bad harvest this past year. so their hops are
Yeah.
gonna be
It's so
quite hard to get.
expensive. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I managed to get a kilo before it kind of went, and a kilo for me is like, that's me sorted now for the next year or two.
I made a beer last night which I mash hopped with Cascade,
Okay.
which is a like sessiony IPA, like hazy IPA, which I've also then pitched the fire release yeast and the hops.
The one from WHC?
Yeah, the hop unlock
Yep.
yeast.
Hop Unlock, yeah.
And I did it with Citra, Simcoe, and Amarillo.
That'll be
so,
quite orangey.
yeah. So I'm hoping I get a good beer out of it. Kicked off nicely.
Definitely.
Less than 12 hours, and it was going off like a snow globe.
Bloody hell, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be good.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Cool.
So I think it's cool, but it's kind of a trend as well. A lot of that stuff you can kind of use in other ways and still kind of utilize the same effect.
Yeah, it's just another lever, isn't it? It's just another variable in which to play with, and
Yeah.
you know. And
Like I'll mash hop, I'll whirlpool hop, I'll first wort hop. There's all kinds. It just goes back to like the Americans will put hops anywhere anyway. So
yeah, I
They
mean,
were
mash
causing all
hopping's
kinds of
not
trouble.
a new technique, is it? Mash hopping's like quite an old technique, really.
it's actually quite nice with the leaf hops.
I can back that up. I was in Atlanta, and it was quite a long time ago, but it was around about the time that I actually got into sort of the craft beer scene and the hops and things like that. And I remember having an ice cream in a restaurant that was part of a brew house, and the ice cream had hops in it. They will literally put hops in fucking everything. Yeah, it was quite nice actually. Weirdly enough, it was a very nice ice cream, but it didn't taste much like the hops that we all know and love today. It was a bit green.
It wasn't Fuggles then?
It may well have been Goldings or something like that, but
Like
it was nice. Don't get me
Fuggles
wrong,
ice
it was
cream.
nice.
It's quite nice though. Mash hopping and kettle wort, like mash and first wort hopping, you get a lot of flavor from that, and it won't give you any bitterness. So that it has its pluses in building like a proper old school IPA.
Oh, there you go. There's a tip for you, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. So
just.
I'm sorry. I'll step back.
First wort hopping.
Yeah, you
That
just chuck it
is-
in the kettle when you start your runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's like, it's almost like you're
So-
putting it in before you start the boil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what I thought.
It gives us smoother...
especially for the listeners, you know.
That gives us smoother bitterness. Oh, and do you not do that already?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of check the terminology.
Yeah.
It might have been the afternoon of beers.
I think it changes the isomerization or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it just gives a smoother type bitterness instead of harsh. The Germans do it. Germans do it a lot with the lagers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, these clever bastard Germans. They know what they're doing, don't they?
Reinheitsgebot.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the part of the podcast where we drill down, and basically Andy tries to get a recipe out of you. So if we wanted to make,
He's already done that.
I've already done it.
Done that.
so if we wanted to make an Overtone style beer at home, what would be your key process tips and ingredients?
I would not make an IPA at home.
But then, don't forget...
It's too much of a pain in the butt.
Andy, do
It's
not
such a
argue
pain
with
in
the
the
man.
butt. If you're doing it in buckets, just go home.
Yeah, we don't... We're all
If you've got,
pressure.
like, pressure and it's
Have
so
you not
much
seen
work.
Andy's fucking uni tank? He had to rebuild a wall to get that thing in.
I don't know, I can't
And
really...
people put them in like Muslim cloths or nets and bags, and it's such a pain.
Just for clarity,
So
that's
difficult.
Muslim, not Muslim.
Muslim.
No. I think most... most of us use pressure fermenting.
Most
There's
people, we're doing close transfers. We got pressure
homebrewing's proper these days.
I couldn't
Full
afford
kegging.
it then.
It's
No, you could.
so oxygen.
You could.
Oxygen
It was bad
heat
enough back then.
transfers.
Because I was homebrewing, like 10 plus years ago, so it'd fill your entire car with homebrew stuff to take it from one place to another.
Yeah, pretty much.
You got your 2 kegs, you got your cooler, your other cooler, and all the bits and pieces and bottles and all my stuff's still at the brewery. I tried building another kit, but I've never used it.
Just abandoned it.
Yep.
So Dan, if I said, what's your top tip for making an Overtone style pale ale?
Keep it simple.
All right, kiss.
People try to overcomplicate things. And like one of the things I learned at one of my first brewery jobs, it was more of a transitional product. Like my boss was always like, keep it simple and not try to overdo it. Because you could add like 10 different malts and all these hops and it wouldn't matter. You just need to start easy and simple.
Yeah, because
You don't wanna overcomplicate it.
you've always says avoid oats in a pale. Is that
Avoid what?
right? Oats.
Well,
Yeah, you changed.
it makes it easier to oxidize.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Purple beers for the win.
Go dextrin malt all the way.
Yeah.
Extra
That and a lot of wheat.
Yeah.
What's
so
your
there we
thoughts
go.
on chit malt, Dan? Have you ever used chit malt?
I was using that in our early sours, but I don't really have much of a use for it currently.
No, I used
Oh,
chit malt
oh.
yesterday as a replacement for dextrin malt.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
Here's one for you, Dan. What's your best tip to get a juicy IPA? More or less hops? I've got a feeling I know this answer.
Oh, it's all about
Throw
the money.
in! Whoa!
Yep. Oh, some more hops in there.
There you go. More hops.
Wow, you are American.
Being an IPA brewery isn't cheap.
No. No, it
No,
isn't.
but you don't want to go too far either. It's some sort of control, but it is quite expensive.
What's the sweet spot then in grams per litre?
Somewhere between 20 and 30.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but guys...
You like drinking that triple IPA, don't you?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. I have...
Well, why do you think you like it?
I
Because
feel
half
the
of that
need-
hop is still in that beer.
I feel the need
Is
to
that
explain
talking
to
about,
our
like,
listeners...
Are we talking about IPAs here as well as pale ales, like that range?
No, the pale ales is quite light. I don't do what some of the competitors
Good,
do,
good.
like
That's
3
that's
grams per
reassuring.
liter. Forget that. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But no,
Guys, I
like
feel
a
the
good
need
bit of
to
hop.
explain that if you are brewing on a smaller scale kit compared to the size of kit that Dan is brewing on, they get much higher hop utilization than we do, so increase it. So maybe go 35 grams per litre.
Another 10-20% at least there. You're right.
At
That's-
least 15%.
So I think Brooksy
So like
just
70
recommended-
kilos per batch.
70 kilos per... What size are you brewing at?
20 heck.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
70 kilo. I mean, you could take my entire hop freezer.
That's probably closer to 18 hectoliters.
and brew
That's
a
per-
lager.
That's per brew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you
But
deal
that's
with like
that's
the losses
Whirlpool
to
10,
that amount?
and then like maybe 20 for the first dry hop, and then another 40, 50 for the second, third. Depends.
yeah, how
Jesus
are you dealing with the
Christ.
amount of like absorption that you'd be getting with that level of hopping? Is it just
Cryo. So
Yes.
you use less hop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can only use a certain percentage of cryo because you have to use regular hops with it as well.
Yeah.
It makes it work better.
Yeah, because Tricky, you found that with the Was it the Incognito and Spectrum? They actually recommended you to blend it. There's Thomas.
Got a visitor.
Thomas has arrived.
Are you off to bed? Say good night to everybody.
Look,
Thomas!
He's
Or
loving
you
it. He's
could
loving
just
life.
wave.
Legend.
Yeah. Right, for all our listeners, Tricky's child's
Go
just
now.
wandered in and he's doing some sort of Mexican wave.
Yeah, and it's 20 to 10.
He's also showing off some Lego. He's
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
that looks like
Nice.
Ninjago Lego.
He's been watching Harry Potter with his mum. So
It's a basilisk, didn't
off
you
to
know?
bed now. Come on.
Check it. Wait, just Tom. Wait, just
8.
Thomas. 8.
Wait,
Yeah.
man.
So he's same age as Maui boy Matthew
Yeah,
then.
he wouldn't be up
This
this
is
late.
late.
Normally. Yeah,
Yeah, this is late.
He'd be in bed a couple of hours ago. Normally.
Yeah,
Mine
yeah,
is still
yeah.
playing games. Watching
Still waiting
YouTube
for you.
or some shit.
This is what happens when I
probably
leave
watching Mr.
bedtime up to
Beast,
the
man.
wife. It just goes.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Oh, kids, man.
So Dan, I'm going to ask for your top tip on an Overtone dipper. If you're going to make a dipper, Dan, what's your golden tip? I might call this section "Dip Your Tip" with Dan.
I don't know. Teabag it.
Teabag it, yeah. Nice,
Get a big
nice.
muslin bag.
What about a Westie?
I find that a lot of people get really quite upset when their Westie's not clear.
Yeah,
It's a bit
Yeah.
disappointing.
hard to do when you got so much dry hop going, right?
I don't know. It's a bit tastier when it's hazy.
We
But
need to
it really
get,
upsets a lot of people.
we need
Yeah.
to get Amiga back on and talk about the research and discuss the effect of haze again.
The haze thing. I
We
think
need
it
to get
does
Lance
affect
on.
flavour, right? It really does affect flavour.
What was
You're
Lance
drinking
saying
yeast
about
and
that?
hops, so.
He was saying that the research is still ongoing and he'd give me a shout when it had been published.
It's a
keep
work
nagging
in
him,
progress.
Keep
One can
nagging
at a
him.
time.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, man.
Maybe
Well,
we need to do a triangle test.
I think at this point, given the fact that we have essentially rinsed Dan of all the information that I think we're going to get out of him, he's holding his
Yeah, good
cards
luck.
very close to his chest. He's not even giving us.
I
a
don't know. I
recipe or
thought I
anything.
gave a lot.
Yeah.
You did, Dan, but I'm trying to make the listeners think that you didn't.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you drink a can or a glass? What is your preferred consumption method?
Glass.
I prefer Steins, but I'll go with the glass.
Gotta be
Yeah.
in the glass.
People give me a hard time about the cans, but I think it's better.
Why?
Really? You just drink straight out of
Yeah.
can?
I
Yeah.
even bought koozies.
Nice.
Oh,
I did
man.
notice the koozie,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Does save on the washing up, to be fair. Can't argue with that.
And
It does,
keep,
but-
it keeps the beer colder, too.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when you pour your IPA into a glass, you're losing a lot of the hop aromas. And when you're drinking it straight from the can, you're getting it fresh to your face every time.
No,
Oh, there you go.
I would agree because, I mean, I do have the occasional can that I drink out of when I'm gaming. Because I don't really bother with glasses when I'm gaming, but most of the time, if I'm drinking a beer to appreciate it, I will use a glass vessel, let's say.
But in the garden, why even bother? Just a can.
I
Mowing the
funny.
lawn, a can. I
Yeah.
was curious.
I was camping and it was straight out the can as well.
Yeah.
Mowing the lawn is a fucking Stein. Come on.
Oh my god. Are you no, not laying on the lawn, mowing it.
I cut my grass
Jesus.
today.
Yes. I cut my grass as well.
I cut the
How does that
grass
fit
today.
on the mower?
Well, yeah, you hold it with one hand, you use the mower with the other. Or do what I did today. Hold this with one hand, the vape in the other, and get the sun to do the mowing. Yeah,
Nice.
that'd work.
Oh, smart.
I tried that. You
That'd
got
be the
bored
day.
after 30 seconds. This
Yeah,
is
so did
boring,
Oscar,
Daddy.
then
I'm
they
like,
just
oh no, that's
shouted
why I
out,
asked you to
"Carry
do
on."
it.
You have to motivate them. There's got to be
Is that
like,
YouTube
pride.
attention span?
That's it.
Exactly.
I actually got Matthew helping me take all the woods and stuff to the rubbish tip, and so he was up taking bits of wood and chucking it in. So that's it, free labour.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we were all brought up on.
Yep, free labour.
Graft and unpaid work.
I have to say that Oscar's attention span, whilst yes, it is very much limited to whatever's on Netflix at the time, whenever there's meat in the smoker going slow and low, his attention span gets real fucking wide, real fucking quick. That's all I'm saying. Like, when's the beef ribs ready, Daddy? Go and spritz it again, Ozzy.
Do you have an electric smoker?
Oh dear God, no.
No, it's an actual...
I have a Kamado, yeah. I've got a 24-inch Kamado.
Yeah.
Charcoal, the whole deal.
Yeah. But Chris has got us all into it.
Oh no!
I went to the States and they were.
Oh, is it tricky?
Oh.
Yeah.
Tricky
If you have a big green egg in the States, you tend to get sort of frowned upon. They're all about Traegers and stuff like that. They get like real
offset
pissy.
smokers, right? That's
Yeah.
Offset.
I didn't think it was as big up in the northern states.
I just went back home and we're watching 3 different football games at the same time, and they had ribs in the smoker and chicken wings. It was absolutely amazing. You get up, you put it in, you do your things for the day, and come the afternoon, it's all ready. And man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta get one. I want to make
Buy a
pastrami
Kamado,
and
man.
shit, you know.
Buy a Kamado.
Oh,
One quick thing for you, Dan. We've had quite a few American guests on recently, and I'm going to still classify you as an American.
Well, you should.
Which NFL team do you support?
the Patriots.
Oh dear God! How long till Belichick loses his job then?
I'm not really into football that much, but the Patriots won so many throughout my life. It was just like amazing.
Oh,
right now
Brady's.
I'm pulling for the. Nah, he should have retired a long time ago. I'm pulling for the Celtics. They're gonna do the first time in NBA history. They're gonna come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Oh dear God, that ain't gonna happen.
Oh, come on! They've already got 2 wins in a row, so they've already minimized that. They got to get 2 more wins. That's it. And they're in Boston tonight.
Really? So tonight,
yeah.
they can level the series tonight.
Yep. They'll bring it to 7 come Monday or something like that.
Game 7. Oh my God, that'd be worth. I might have to sub up to Sky Sports for a day.
It's on at 1:30 tonight.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to make that. I'll be honest.
No, it sucks. But
After all day
to
drinking.
come back from 165 times it's happened, and like only 50 times has it happened. Now, nobody's actually won at a 3-0 deficit. So if they did that, it'd be a first time in NBA history.
Wow.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
Keep an eye on the news, and we'll see just how badly they get annihilated tonight.
No. What happens is Butler is talking a lot of crap, like, "Oh, we're gonna kick your ass tonight," and that they'll come out and then bury him. You don't talk bad about him in Boston, you know. They should have been down 3-0 first off, but
shit's getting serious. That's all I gotta say. Dan,
cool.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
It's been good to listen to somebody who has been unashamedly unabashed when it comes to sharing his opinions on beer. You've said it how it is. I appreciate that. I'm from York.
It's the American in me, you know. I can't help it.
I think you're mistaking that for being East Coast as opposed to being West Coast. But yeah, no, we love it. We love it.
Open your mouth, put your foot in it,
and then talk. Yeah, that's how we roll. Guys, does anybody else have any more questions for Dan?
I think we've quizzed him enough.
Yeah, I think we've.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Dan.
This is cool.
Dan, thanks for coming on.
It's nice having a beer with you.
Yeah, that was great. Cheers,
good.
Dan.
It's been a fun
Cool.
Saturday night, Dan. Thanks.
Right,
Cool.
so that is episode 69 of the Hop Edition in the bag. Thanks again to our Patreons. Thanks again to Johnny at Brewing Tap for helping us to do what we do. Are we going to have an after party?
If we want to have an after party, Chris.
Are you going to hang around for an extra 15 minutes, Dan, have another beer? Hey, The man runs a brewery. He's got beers on tap. So
I got
let's
Vault
say
City downstairs, so
There you go.
you can grab another Vault City, mate, and we'll fire up an after party. I'll throw the link in all the usual places for the Jitsi, mate, and then we can crack on. So thanks for joining us. Say goodbye, people.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
thanks.
Take it easy, and thanks for listening to the Hop Edition. We will be back in a couple of weeks, I think it is, or maybe a week. Might be a week, actually.
Who knows?
We'll see you all soon.
Mystery.
Yeah. Ta-ta!
Bye.
Adios.